Hi guys, what is going on and welcome to today's weekly outlook video. In today's video we are once again going to give you guys my weekly outlook on Bitcoin, on Ethereum and also on GBP against the dollar and Euro against the dollar. All of them are looking extremely interesting once again for some potential interesting trading ideas on Bitcoin, Ethereum, GU and EU. Let's dive straight into it. Let's start off with our analysis on Bitcoin because we can see Bitcoin still trading inside of this massive range that we have over here. And I've been teaching you guys to trade this range until it breaks. Now we can see that after a deviation of the range low over here, we have now also witnessed a deviation above the range high over here. Now, there's something to keep in mind. The deviation is not confirmed until you see a clear shift in trend. And until we get a clear break of this low that we have over here, and with a clear break, I mean candle opens and candle closes beneath this low, the trend is still to the upside on the 1 hourly time frame. Why do we need to break this low and not, for example, this higher low or this higher low? Because this is the low that brought us to our most recent high. This low, for example, did not bring us to a new high compared to our previous high. So this is the low that we need to break in order to shift structure. And until we do, I personally believe that it's not a good idea to start looking for shorts, even though we have seen a small deviation over here. Now, anticipating this potential deviation in a lot of people, their eyes, I think a lot of people are right now shorting Bitcoin on this breakdown to the downside. And where are their stop losses resting? Above this high over here. Also, I don't believe that this quick move above the range high is enough to wipe out all of the liquidity that we have been building up above these highs over here. I think to really take out the liquidity pool, you want to see some sideways movement inside of that liquidity pool in order to give smart money the time to fill their short and sell orders. Okay, that takes time. A quick move above into that liquidity pool is usually not enough. So what do I expect for Bitcoin? I expect for Bitcoin for this week to go and take out this liquidity pool over here, or to at least test the range high area one more time. Now, potential areas of support for Bitcoin could be the mid-range over here. Another reason not to become completely bearish yet is that we are still above the mid-range. And as long as you are holding above the mid-range, as long as you are holding above the range low, you could target the range high, especially this mid-range area, extremely important. Now, we can see that we have this sell-side liquidity resting beneath this low over here as well. Why is the liquidity resting? Because of this breakout to the upside. People identify this as a break of structure. They either try to break out long Bitcoin over here, or they try to long the pullback. Where are those stop losses resting? Beneath this low. Now, in this case, these stop losses are exactly resting where we also have the mid-range support area. If we are going to go from our swing low all the way towards our swing high, and we are going to switch on our Fibonacci retracement levels, we can also see that the golden Fibonacci ratio, the most important Fibonacci area of support, is also aligning with that mid-range area and with this demand kind of area that we have over here. Okay, so there was demand coming into the market. We have this sell-side liquidity, we have this mid-range, and I think this is an important, very, very important area of support for the Bitcoin price. So a potential scenario could be the case where we are going to take out the sell-side liquidity, in which we are going to see a fake breakdown, and we are going to see a shift in structure back to the upside, a reclaim of the mid-range, and we are going to send it to that range high liquidity pool. That is definitely a scenario that I would keep in mind for the Bitcoin price, and this is definitely a scenario that if we go and take out this sell-side liquidity over here, and if we are going to get a low time frame confirmation over here, I'm willing to long Bitcoin back up again towards this range high liquidity pool and towards this buy-side liquidity over here. Until we break the trend, you want to go with the trend and you never want to trade against it. Now, Ethereum is also still trading inside of this beautiful range that we have over here, right? The problem with Ethereum is that we haven't swept the range low and that we also haven't swept the range high. Now, we have equal lows around the range low area over here, 1, 2, and we have equal highs around the range high area, 1, 2. Now, in my opinion, with these kind of circumstances, you want to wait for either side of the extremes of the range to get mitigated, okay? So we have this range high liquidity pool. And like I said, we also have this range low liquidity pool. Now you want to wait for these liquidity pools to get mitigated before you position yourself either in a long or in a short position. Now, currently Ethereum is trending to the upside, okay? So we saw a important liquidity sweep over here that I've been explaining in Friday's YouTube video. We've seen a shift in structure again to the upside over here. And now we are testing the mid-range. Also, if we are going to go from our swing low to our swing high area, we can see that the mid-range is aligning with the discount of this most recent impulse to the upside, okay? So I think that as long as this mid-range area holds, and yes, we can see a little bit of a deviation beneath the mid-range with a reclaim. If you get a scenario like this, I think that Ethereum should target the range high first before it targets the range low liquidity, okay? So as long as it remains above the mid-range, it is bullish and we should target the range high. If we get a clear push below the mid-range and we cannot reclaim the mid-range over here on the retest, then we should target the range low liquidity pool over here, okay? Now a scenario where I'm interested in potentially positioning myself into a long position in Ethereum is if we are going to get a push a little beneath the mid-range, retest it, reject, reclaim the mid-range with the shift in structure. This is my long trigger, this is my invalidation, and this is my first profit target. Eventually, I would not be scared to target higher levels for Ethereum because I do expect Ethereum and altcoins to potentially outperform Bitcoin if we are going to see somewhat of a bullish week. Also for Ethereum, not really looking for shorts, guys. The high time frame trend is still to the upside, the low time frame trend is still to the upside. And we have an important liquidity pool above the range high as well. Not really a lot of reasons to look for shorts yet. Euro is looking quite interesting as well. And I've been marking up a little bit on the higher time frame, the Euro chart. I think that this is an important buy side liquidity target over the upcoming weeks and months. We have this weekly fair value gap over here. And if we're going to take the EQ level of the weekly fair value gap and we're going to extend this to the right, let's remove the 0 and the 1 level. So we are going to take the mid level of that weekly fair value gap. We can see that this week over here front runs that weekly EQ level. Now we know that these high time frame weekly and monthly and yearly fair value gaps usually at least get filled for 50%, which is that EQ level. So I believe that this front run could be a sign that we are going to target that EQ level in the upcoming weeks and months. Otherwise, why would smart money push the price this close towards that liquidity pool and not go and fill it for 50% and take out this buy side liquidity, which is not really visible on the weekly. If we move to the daily, we can see that we have a beautiful top of the wick over here. Now we also have to realize that the top of that wick is also the top of a daily bearish supply candle. Why? Bearish liquidity sweep, as we can see over here. We have this bearish daily fair value gap over here, and also we have a beautiful supply candle. So this is a high probability supply / order block area. We have an inducement that was formed over here. Now over here is where we have this weekly fair value gap and we have the sell side liquidity resting over here. So I think that we are not going to target this buy side liquidity in one go and the weekly EQ level in one go, okay? I think that this daily supply candle, which is a high probability order block, is going to provide some resistance over here, okay? So I think if we take out this high, we can target this liquidity over here. And then if we are going to target this liquidity over here, I think this could be the area to look for swing long positions again, okay? So we're going to refine this on a lower time frame, for example, on the 1 hourly or 15-minute time frame. You want to wait for this high to get taken out, the previous week high. This is where you want to look for shorts. You want to wait for confirmations, guys. Don't enter shorts without confirmations. But if you get the 15-minute or the 1 hour confirmation over here, you can target this sell side and this sell side. And this is the area again to look for swing long positions, okay? Very, very clear pen on EU, very clear invalidations. If it pushes higher without showing weakness, there's no reason to enter a short because we are going to wait for the double sweep, for that shift in structure with the displacement, and that's where we get our long trigger. Clear invalidation above this high, clear target with these sell side liquidity lows, and that's the plan for Euro. Now for GU, it's a little bit different. If we're going to check out the daily time for GU, we can see that the daily is quite strong and that the daily has clear buy-side liquidity targets over here, right? With these relative equal highs, not a very clear supply area, not a high probability supply area like EU has. So I think for GU, it potentially looks a little stronger and a little more probable compared to EU to already go for this buy-side liquidity during the upcoming week or weeks. Okay, so I think for GU, if you're going to check the lower time frame, I think the order flow still looks bullish. I think we could accelerate towards this target over here, but we have to realize that GU is correlated strongly to EU. Personally, when I see something like this, and on the other hand, EU is looking quite clear in my eyes and in my opinion, I'm going to try and not touch GU this week, okay? So I'm going to try and shift my focus to EU because usually EU gives a little bit more of a clearer view compared to GU. You want to keep your eyes on DXY, you want to keep your eyes on EU and GU, but if the picture is quite different on the higher time frame for both of them, I want to go with a more clearer picture. And currently, the more clearer picture is definitely EU in my opinion. And also I feel like the EU trades are usually a little higher probability. So my advice to you is to focus on EU this week. If we're going to get an early week pullback, you can look for longs over here, target this external liquidity. If we're going to go for that external liquidity in one go, you want to look for swing shorts targeting that high time frame internal liquidity with that weekly fair value gap. If you guys do have any questions after watching today's YouTube video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also make sure to check out PrimeXBT, which is the sponsor of today's YouTube video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday's video. Ciao, ciao.